We're going to be creating a custom state EMS report using Publisher. Now, before I get going, can all of you hear me okay? I want to make sure that our audio is okay.
You sound great, Eddie.
Perfect, thank you. So the goal of this session is we're going to learn how to create and distribute a customized state report using MS Publisher, and we're going to use your 2020 EMS performance measure data to populate that information. Now, I would recommend that for this presentation, you just watch and not try to follow along. You're welcome to follow along. I always encourage that, but I will be moving at a relatively fast pace so that we can get done in like the 40 minutes that we have. As I said earlier, we'll be recording all the session and we'll be uploading the resources to our website so that you can view them at any time. And create your own template. The first file that we're going to be working with is the 2020 state report. That's the template. What I would suggest is that you create a new file and you just leave that template as it is so that you can always have that as a reference. The second file that you're going to have and that we're going to share is the maps of the states and territories. That's just a simple graphics library that you can use to bring in different images and further customize a report. And finally, after we make a report, we're gonna use the template for respondents and a template for non-respondents. And we'll be using that to prepare it as if we were gonna send it to, like, let's say an EMS agency director. And now to get started, there are a couple tools that we're going to be using. The one tool that I already hinted at was MS Publisher. So if you have that, you can open it up and just kind of follow along, or you can just watch. I'm going to be logging into the Tableau dashboard, specifically to the 2020 performance measure data. And then I had suggested that you use a software screenshot tool. Now, in Jane's presentation yesterday, she used a snipping tool. That's a simple Windows built-in tool that you can use for snipping. If you're a Mac user, they have a built-in tool called Grab, and I'm gonna use one called Greenshot. That one is free, open source, but you will have to make sure that you can use that if you do download it. Your IT may create some restrictions on whether you can use that. But I like that one because all you have to do is you can just press print screen and it will capture that area. And you'll see right now as I start using it how we can use that. Okay, so I'm going to open up the template, but at this point, does anyone have any questions? All right. And there's the chat.
Eddie, and just Amanda has uploaded the 4 files into the chat room.
Thank you, Amanda. Appreciate it.
Yep, you're welcome.
Yeah, it's a little harder when you're a presenter to upload files. So so let's start with the report. As I said earlier, you can just watch what I'm doing. We are recording this session. Or you can try to kind of mimic the process. It's up to you. I would like to thank Norma, our Georgia manager. She was nice enough to let me use her data today so that we can demonstrate the session. Now, the purpose of this report or this report template is really to communicate your state's EMS ability to care for pediatric patient. It might look a little familiar because it is a similar to report to the one that was sent to on a national perspective a couple months ago. So we've adapted it for a state-specific report. Now, I'm not sure what the group's familiarity is with Publisher, but it's very similar to other Microsoft Office products. The report is laid out into 3 pages, page 1, page 2, and page 3. I'm going to zoom in a little bit. And the first page that you see here is a demographic page that has demographic information on who completed your survey. So basic demographics of EMS agencies. And as you can see here, we've added some sample data so that you can know what graphs you're going to place there. And we're going to go into that in a few minutes. The second page is referring to skill checking and its frequency for EMS agency. You know, so your top fields here are demonstration, simulation, observation, and field observation. And then you can see that we have added some significance and some resources. And your third page is regarding a pediatric emergency care coordinator. And that is and again, we have some resources in the end, a couple tables, and the significance as well. The report is designed in such a way where you could potentially just take one page of it if that's all you needed, or you can take all pages. Now, before we start going at it and populating the report, I want to talk about some options of how you can customize report and what we have given you. Let me zoom into the first page, and I can use that as a reference. So do you all see, and you can just shout it out, do you all see these little blue lines here?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah,
Yes.
they're a little hard to see, but via the recording, but these are called guides. We actually put those on there so that we can make sure that the images and the text was aligned throughout the document. Like, for example, we aligned this left margin here so that all the pictures and all the words or all the images are aligned down that way. So you'll be using those guides as you work on adding new images or new graphs so that you can make sure that everything is aligned appropriately. Now, these lines are either found horizontally or vertically, and you can also move them around. So if you wanted to change a guide, you can actually grab it just by left clicking it. Oopsie. Slowly grab it. Let me see here. I think you grab it from the top. Oops, it's not grabbing right now. There it is. You have to hold it, and then you can grab it and you can move it around so that if you wanted to change the location of the guide, you could do that. I'm gonna go back to the default. We have thought about how we wanted to place these. You can also go to the edge where these rulers are, and you can bring in a new guide. So if you wanted to introduce a new guide somewhere in the document, you can do that. Again, we're gonna leave the guides as they are because I think they work pretty well. But if you wanted to create a new guide, you can always do that. And that would help you in just making sure that your presentation is nice and centered, or that everything is justified the way you like it. So that's the first customization. Now, the other customization is, you'll see that to the right of the document. Let me zoom out a little bit. I'm using Control and my mouse, and I'm gonna zoom out. You see that we've added some images or some graphics here, and we've added what looks to be like a color palette. So these are graphics that you can bring in. So as you see here, we have a lady with blue and red. We could take this group out, just take them out of the page, and we can bring in this new group if we wanted to. And you can see that the guides kind of tell me where would be a good place to put it. I'm gonna undo that. And on the right side, we have this color palette. We chose these colors because they match really well with the colors that are going to be used in the Tableau dashboard. And I'll show you in a moment how you can also change those. So if you look at your background here, you can see, or the header, we've chosen the color green. So let's say that you really don't like the color green and you really want to change it. So the way that Microsoft Publisher organizes organizes everything are through objects. So this green box here is called an object. So what I would do is I would select that box, and it would create these bubbles around it to tell me that it's highlighted. Then I would go to Format, Then under shape fill, I would select the down arrow. And then I would select sample fill color. Once I have sample fill color, I can sample any color here. So I'm gonna pick this orange one as an example, and it'll change that color. Similarly, now that you've changed that color to orange, let's say that you wanted to change the header names here to that same color. You would also highlight it in this case. You would go to home. And in a similar way, you'll go to this font selection here. And again, you have an option for sample font color. Again, I could go to this orange here, or I can go to this orange and I can left click it. And it would change that to orange. So you can go through that process of changing these colors throughout the document. Again, it doesn't change them for page 2 or page 3, so you would have to do that a little manually. There is a shortcut which I want to show you. So let me undo everything. I'm going to stick with the green because I'm okay with it. So you can see here that for the headers, we wouldn't want to do all that manually. I mean, it's the same exact information. So there is a way of doing that process a little bit faster. So we know that we're going to be doing Georgia. So let's enter Georgia here, Georgia. And I'm going to change this font color back to white because that is the color that we're going to be using. That's white. And now I put an X and X here for the number of agencies sent the survey. So I'm going to have to look that information. This is the first time we're going to start playing with our data here. So I'm going to go to Tableau. Let me see if I remember my password. I do. And yours might look a little different because of your permissions, but what you're going to want to go to is you're going to go to Explore. And when you go to Explore, you should have permissions for an EMS surveys box. And then you're going to find 2020 performance measure data with past years. And then you'll go to Overview. And I'll select the state of Georgia. And I'll make sure that 2020 is pre-selected. So I'm going to go back to my document. I'm going to use Alt-Tab, which makes me shift really quickly. And the first question it's asking me is the number of agencies that were sent the survey. And that information is here in the overview. It says here that 154 agencies were sent the survey. So let's go ahead and change that to 154. Okay. And then we'll also make the font here white so that it matches and looks pretty. Now, if I wanted to make this change for the second page, here's the trick. So let me see if I can show you how to do it. So what you first do on the second page is you take your mouse and you hold it left and you select this whole section. And then you let go of your left click. And you can see now that all the objects in this box have been selected. Then I can press delete. I'll do it again so that you can see on the third page. So you hold your left click down, you move across, and then you let go. And then you can press delete again. So now what you're going to do is you're going to go back to your first page. And this is the one you want because it's already done. And you're going to left click again, hold all the way down, and make sure your whole box is covered. And now you're going to copy. And all you have to do is you can press paste and it puts it in the same location. Or you can use Control V if you're using a Windows computer and then paste. And now a quick way to check this is if you scroll through it, you'll see that the object or the box is staying in the same place. That tells us that it's in the same exact location. You can't do that with all the objects, but with the headers, you definitely can because it's all uniform. Okay, is everyone following along? Any questions at this point, or should we keep going?
Good, Eddie, we got 15 minutes left.
Okay, so I'll just keep going. I see one potential question. I'll let Mike read it out.
Excuse me, Renee says, keep going.
All right, I'll keep going. So now we're gonna start populating this. I'm gonna move a little bit faster so that we can get through everything. Now, who took the survey? I know that that information is found in that overview. So we're gonna go up here, and 133 respondents took the survey. So we're gonna populate that. And this is a lot easier now. You're just adding text here. 133. And we're gonna make sure that's black. And then we can leave that as is. It says here to insert your shape from your state. So this is where we're gonna use that first graphics library that I showed you earlier. This is the maps of the states and territories. We have a bunch of maps here that you can use. We also have some Microsoft art that you can grab. The Georgia one is right here, but I'm gonna use this one here. Again, it has the same. Yes.
Eddie, it's Mike. Sorry, I misspoke. You have 30 minutes.
I have 30 minutes. Thank you, Mike.
Yeah.
I thought I was going to move a lot faster, but okay.
No. I'm sorry. I wanted to, give you that bit of good news.
No, that's great news. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab, I'm going to grab Georgia here, and I can just take Georgia and copy it over. I can also use the same sample fill color option here and change the color. But I'm just going to take Georgia as it is. I'm going to copy it here, and I'm going to bring it over. One consideration, something to keep in mind when you're working with PowerPoint or Republisher, is that you want to edit your image right here. I believe this is a vector, and when you bring it into Publisher, it's going to come in as a JPEG or a PNG, so you won't be able to edit it further. So we want to edit it right here. We'll bring it into Publisher.
Eddie, there was one comment from Carolina and Rhode Island. It says that Rhode Island doesn't work in that map.
Oh, okay.
I'm not sure.
We can try to find another map for you, Carolina, that would work. We have also included a clip art here, and you could potentially use that as well. It's also pretty flexible, so you could potentially bring in any type of image here. So
thanks.
Yeah, so so I'm using my guidelines here just to make sure that it's all aligned properly, and I'll keep going here. So now we're starting to get into some of the graphs from Tableau that we're going to be using. Mike and I and the team work with these a lot, so I can tell you where they're at. The agencies by highest licensure is found on the demographics tab of the Tableau dashboard. So if I go to the demographics tab here, I'm going to want to grab this graph here. Now, this is where I'm going to use this screenshot tool that I told you about, and this is where you can use your own clipping tool. My screenshot tool is right here. What it does is I can print screen. I'm going to zoom in because I want to make sure I capture just the graph. I'm going to print screen, and it would allow me to select the box very carefully. And just grab that. Let me do it again here. Oopsie. Little mistake there. Okay, so I'm gonna print screen. What I'm trying to do is I'm trying to make sure that you can see what I'm doing here. There we go. So I'm gonna copy that, and I'm gonna copy to clipboard, and then I'm gonna bring it into the agencies by highest licensure. Now you'll notice that I didn't bring in the header because we already have one here that you can customize in the color. I just brought in the graph. And then what you'll want to do is you'll want to resize it by selecting the corner and just moving it along, and it will retain that structure of your file. So we'll align it, and we can always fix these later on, but we're just trying to get the graph inside. There we go. So, and just to make that point again, we didn't bring in this header here because we already have one that is customizable and editable. If you brought this in, then you wouldn't be able to edit any further because it's now bringing in as a JPEG. The next one we want to bring is a types of providers reported. to bring in the type of providers reported, it's conveniently in the same location. It's right here. So what I'll do is I'll use my print screen again. And I will copy and to a clipboard. I will go back to publisher. I'll remove the sample text that we added and I'll paste it on there. And oops, right there. And right there. And I'll just align it just right. Again, this is where those guidelines are really helpful. It can really ensure that your presentation is aligned. Now, the third one in this last page, or the third one in this first page, is the pediatric call volume by number and percentage of agencies. To bring that one in, it's also, I think, conveniently in the same place. So let's go back to the website. Oh, here it is. So to bring this one in, we're gonna copy from our clipboard. Oops, we're gonna also bring this in here. Let me actually scroll down because I don't know if that's gonna clip. Let me zoom out. It's a little hard to get that one. All right, let's grab that now. Here. And copy that to clipboard. And we'll bring it in here. Again, we'll delete the sample text. We don't need that anymore. And we'll paste it here. Now, sometimes the text that you're bringing in doesn't quite fit in that area. And this is an instance where it doesn't quite fit. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna just bring it in. I'm gonna maybe left justify it a little bit. Make it a little smaller. And then if you're left with a blank area here, you can do a number of things. What I'm gonna do just to keep it, to keep us going here, I'm gonna copy the bear and just paste the bear on there so that we can cover up that white space. So now we've completed or populated the first page. We'll move on to the second page and then we'll just double check and make sure everything's aligned before we finish. Now for the second page, we're gonna change this. It says insert state. We'll just put Georgia here to make sure that that's correct. And this is, again, the second page is when we're asking about pediatric specific equipment. This first graph is asking about the pediatric specific equipment results, specifically the percent and type of method and skill. Now I know that that's in skill checking overview. So we're gonna go to skill checking overview. And that is right here, the last tab. And let me just double check to make sure we get we have the right one. So we're looking for the percent and type of method skill. So we're gonna go back to our Tableau dashboard and that's this one right here. Again, we don't need the header. So we're just gonna print screen those 3 bar graphs. Grab that really quickly, copy to clipboard. And then I'm gonna remove this, oops, remove the whole object, and I'm gonna paste. Again, I'll use the corners to adjust the sizing. And maybe I'll do this one again, because you see my little my mouse cursor was captured on that. So I'll gotta get my mouse out of the way. We'll do it again. And copy to clipboard. And we'll paste again. Okay, and then the second one that we're going to add to here is the frequency of skill checking. So again, that is in the same place. We try to make these convenient so that they were in the same location for you. And this is referring to this one here. Again, I'll use the print screen. I'll capture this graph. I'll copy to clipboard and I'll bring it here. Again, select that whole object so that you can remove the sample data. Oops. And then we're gonna paste that right there. I'll minimize again to make it fit appropriately using my guidelines. to kind of organize my work a little bit. Okay, and maybe I'll left justify with that guideline that we have there. And those are the only graphs we're adding for this page. You do notice that we have some resources here. If you wanted, you could add your own resources if you have some state-specific resources. And you have an opportunity here then to enter your contact information. So I'll put that in there. I'll put Norma Campbell's information. I'll put her phone number. It's her office number, so she should be okay. I'm not sure if Norma's here today. And then I'll put I'll put her email here. norma.campbell@dph.ga.gov. Now, one thing that you're going to want to do for your email, you're going to want to make it a hyperlink. So I'm going to right click the hyperlink. And I'm going to say hyperlink. And then I'm going to put her email here too. norma.campbell@dph.ga.gov. And then I'm going to press OK. What that does, it makes it a blue link. So when if whoever's reading the report wants to actually contact you, they can appropriately contact you because they have a correct email here. So now we're done with page 2. I want to do a check-in with the group because we're about to do page 3. Does anyone have any questions at this point? And I'll just wait a minute.
Nothing yet in the chat box.
Thank you, Mike. Okay. There's always room for questions, so I'm going to keep moving on. And if something comes to mind, let me know. So for page 3, we're first going to change that box really quick. Say Georgia. Now we're working with a designated individual who's called a pediatric emergency care coordinator. We have 2 graphs, and 1 table to modify. So for this one, we're going to go to the PEC overview that is found on the second to last tab on the Tableau dashboard. So the first one that we're being asked to include here are the number of PECs, PECs in your agency. So that table is this, or that graph is this one here. So what we're going to do is we're going to print screen. You want to be careful and try to just get it right so that you don't get any of that blue on top. I'm going to copy the clipboard. I'm going to remove the objects that were added there as sample and just paste. Doesn't quite want to fit, and there it is. And we made that fit. And then the second item here is whether the PEC oversees one agency or multiple agencies. And I think that's right below it. Yep, no, there, yep, here it is. So we're gonna then print screen on this one, grab it slowly, copy it and paste it. So copy clipboard and paste it. So that's kind of why I like Greenshot, because it works really fast, but the other tools work as well, and they're built in if you have some IT restrictions, which I know is real. So we've brought in the PEC, the number of PECs in your agencies. Again, it brought in my mouse cursor. That's just something that you need to, if you're taking your time, you won't have that error. But I'm going to copy and paste it one more time. It kind of shows that we're human. All right, we'll bring it in. And it's a lot nicer now. It doesn't have that cursor. And now we have this last table here, which is the agencies who have a PEC. And again, it's in the same convenient place, this whole table here. So I'm gonna print screen. So for this one, what you might wanna do is you might wanna use control and zoom out so that you can make sure that you capture the whole table. Sometimes depending on the resolution of your monitor, you might not be able to capture it within the whole screen. So I'm gonna copy and paste this table, bring it in, and paste it. And bring it in there. And it's very big, so it's pushing everything away. And I think it got everything. Okay. we'll make it a little bit. Again, when you do this on your own, you'll be able to take some more time and make sure that everything is aligned perfectly. But right now I'm moving relatively fast. And then we have the same information that we had here, the state EMS strategic program manager and their contact information. What I can do, I can go to page 2 and I can just copy this same exact information, Control C for copy. I can replace it and I don't have to rewrite all that. Now, again, we have some predefined resources. We have some predefined academic literature. You can choose to add your own resources in here if you like, if there's something else that has been updated since then, or if there's any state-specific resources that you want to add. Now we are done creating the report. What I like to do before I finalize anything, I like to go through page by page, make sure that everything is aligned how I imagined it. Just what I'm looking for is I'm making sure that all the graphs and the tables are fitting in within the guides that I've created. We have the bear. I'm going to make the bear really big. I'm going to try to get some more out of this table because it's a little hard to see. Maybe I'll go down a little bit. There you go.
Eddie, we have 15 minutes now.
Perfect. Thank you, Mike. I think we're moving right on time here. So what I'm doing is, if you can see, is I'm just making sure that none of my text has been cut off through this process. And everything's looking okay. I'm gonna go double check my third page here, making sure that looks okay. And everything's looking okay. Now, don't do what I did. You want to save your file throughout the way. So I haven't saved it. So let me save it on my desktop. We'll call this Georgia 2020 state report, just so that we can have a publisher version. And now we're getting ready to create like the actual report via a PDF. The way to do this, well, let me show you one last thing. You can also delete a page. So if you only wanted to export the first page, you can just right click here and you can delete a page. But we're gonna leave all 3 pages. So what you do is you go to File, you're gonna go to Export, and you're gonna create a PDF. Now in my instance, it says that the high quality printing is already selected. It might act a little differently depending on the version of publisher you have. But you can see the options here that I can do high quality printing, I can do commercial press, I can do a small size. This is such a small report that I would just do high quality printing. I don't think you have to worry about it being stuck in the email servers. So all I have to do is name it whatever I like. I'm gonna put it on my desktop, it's easy to find, and I can press publish. So now I'm gonna minimize my screen and I'm gonna show you what that report looks like. We have here the report. I'm gonna zoom out so you can see how it looks. You can see that the guides are not there anymore. And all the text looks correct. If you did add any resources, you might want to check them and make sure that they're working correctly. Remember that we added Norma Campbell. You can see here that the email seems to be correct. If I click any of these links, they should open up as a new page. You just want to double check if you added any of these resources. We double check the ones that we added on there, but if you add any additional links, you want to make sure that they're added correctly. Now, the next part that you're going to want to do is you're going to want to get this report ready to send. So the way you can do this, the way you can send this report is you can send. We've created. Let me minimize this here. On the documents that we sent you, we provided a template for respondents and non-respondents. So I'm going to open up that template here. So the template for respondents is just a simple letter that you can send to your respondents, letting them know about the report. You can see here that we left it as EMS agency administrator. we primarily use Microsoft Outlook, and Microsoft Outlook does not allow you to send attachments as a mail merge. So we would have to send this as a BCC, and I'll show you how to do that right now. What we did is we added the fields in yellow are things for you to customize, and we wanted people to contact Mike as much as possible, so we included his contact. But the reality too is that we want people to make that connection between what NEDARC is and what your program is. So once we prepare this, so let's pretend that we're going to prepare this. My name is Norma Campbell, and I am the Georgia.
Eddie, there's a comment in the chat box when we go back to the publisher document that you'd misspelled Norma's name, the email, so the hyperlink doesn't work to her email.
Okay, that's good to know.
So you could show how to edit that.
Yep. So let's see here. Norma Campbell at EPH. Is it which page is it that needs to be edited, Mike?
Hey, Eddie, it's Amanda. In the actual hyperlink, you put normal with an L at the end. So like on the paper, it looks right. But whenever they click the hyperlink, it would go to probably an invalid email address because it says normal Campbell.
That's good to go. Okay, so here it is. So you can do, so this is a good example of like, if you have a hyperlink, you can actually edit it. You can go back to publisher, you can edit there, or you can edit it within your PDF document. Now, sometimes that depends on what resources you have available. But I can actually edit her email right here. And I can then press OK. So now it should go to the correct person. So you can do that we're using Adobe Acrobat Pro. If you have Adobe Acrobat Pro or Adobe Acrobat Standard, you should be able to do that. But if you don't have that, then you would have to go back to Publisher and fix your hyperlink. You would have to go back here and recreate the hyperlink and correctly. But since we fixed it and we only have like 10 minutes left, I'm gonna just use this one that we just corrected on the PDF document. Thank you for that. Thank you for that. And that's a good demonstration of how you can edit the link. So going back to the respondent list, I'm gonna include Norma's information here. Norma Campbell. I mean, I'm not gonna fill this out completely because this is pretty obvious. I don't have her address on file, and I'm gonna put address 123 Georgia, telephone number 818, and email Norma is cool. Just putting some text in here, and just remember to remove the yellow highlights when you're ready to send these, because we don't want them showing up. So once you have your template ready, what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to download your respondent list. In order to do that, I'll show you a quick demo. We gave you instructions in the pre-work, but I'm always happy to show you how to do this because you always need that exposure for that recall. At least I do. So you go to Explore, you go to EMS surveys, and you're going to go to 2020 response rate report. Now, here you're going to have EMS respondents and non-respondents. Right now, we're working on the respondent list. So we're going to export our respondent list. And again, I have access to the whole world. So I'm going to stop and just select Georgia. And I have Georgia's list here. Again, we've done this a couple of times in our calls, but like you can click away and you can download, and you can download a cross-tab or a data. It doesn't, I use either or. And then you can download the rows as a text file, and we can open this up. And we have some instructions in the wiki on how to do this. Again, when you have a response sheet, what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to select all, and you can make it visible. by clicking between the A and the B. And you're gonna always want to add your filters so that you can, and then you're gonna want to save that somewhere on your desktop so that you won't lose it. So we'll just save it in our desktop. We'll call it, respondent list. Respondent list. And then we're almost out of time, so I'm gonna do this pretty quickly here.
Yeah, we got 5 minutes, Eddie.
Okay, yeah, we're almost done here. So now we're gonna get this, we're gonna send it, we're gonna get our respondent list, and we're gonna send this over to our email. Now, I'm gonna close our report out. I'm gonna close my own instructions here out so you can see what I'm doing. Now I'm gonna open up Outlook, and I'm gonna use just one of our support emails here. And what you're gonna want to do is, while that is loading, let me show you what we're gonna do. What you can do is you can take a set of emails. So you can choose the all emails, but I'm gonna select these like 10 emails. Well, let's just select everything. It's not too hard. And we're gonna copy these emails, and then we're gonna create a new email here. Now, sometimes on Outlook, you don't have BCC pre-selected. So you go to options and you make sure that BCC is selected. So you're gonna paste your emails straight from your spreadsheet here. And then you're gonna wanna send it to yourself possibly. Just so that that's what the reader's gonna see. And you can see that's populated other emails. Now we're going to take that template that we created. All you have to do is select all, either by doing Control A or selecting the whole document. Control C to paste, and we're going to paste that with Control V. And it will retain that same formatting exactly as you wrote it. And then we can add any subject line that we like. We can say something like Georgia's EMS for children state report. Whatever subject might be appropriate for you. And then we can then attach the state report that we created on there. At that point, then you would be ready to send it. Send the report. I'm not going to press send because this is not. I'm not Georgia. I'm not Norma. But then your report would be ready to send. You'll notice that going back to our files here, that the non-respondent has some different language, but it's very similar, and it would be a similar process. You would go to Tableau, export the non-respondent list. Now that is the presentation. The TAs and the NEDARC TAs are always happy to sit down with you and help you work through one of these reports if you need some additional support. Does anybody have any questions in the last maybe 2 minutes that we have remaining? And I'll stop sharing for now, and I'll share my video since we're not demoing at the moment.
Hey, Eddie, it's Erica. Correct me if I'm wrong. Did respondents receive the national results?
They did. They did. Yeah. So, and it's a very similar report template. So there will be there will be some familiarity with it, but it would this is just for your state. There's no compare. Yeah.
And,
Okay.
and
Well,
Erica, yeah. Actually, respondents and non-respondents received the national report. So everybody received it.
Okay. Okay. Awesome. But this is going to be new for the respondents that I send it to. Thank you.
Yep.
Right.
Cool. Does anyone can anyone imagine? Does anyone plan to send this in the next month? Just a question to the group.
It's Erica again. I would like to. I want to get everyone ready and excited to respond again in a couple months.
Great.
Good. Samantha says yes. Samantha Mishra says yes.
Great.
Sam Harrison says thanks for making all of these templates for us.
Yep.
And
Yeah.
Renee said she would like to as well.
Yeah.
Template for Senator report.
Yeah, really, it will take about, we did it in about 40 minutes. It might take about an hour to put it together. But again, your NEDARC TA is always happy to help you if you need any assistance with it.